3 dividend stocks to beat stagflation. That's what we're going to talk about today, as many economists believe that this next decade could be a lost decade, similar to what we saw in the 1970s. Stagflation. What is stagflation? I've heard of inflation, but what is stagflation? Stagflation is when inflation is high and economic growth is stagnated or low, and unemployment might be increasing as well. The consumer activity is not moving all that fast, but the prices of things, services, and goods remains high. That, in a nutshell, is stagflation. For older investors, you may remember the 1970s when we saw that entire decade, the S&P 500 only grew roughly 15% across all 10 years in the 1970s. Just to put this all into perspective, the S&P 500 over the past 50 years has gained an average annual rate of 10% per year. This includes part of the 1970s. In March, inflation still sat at 5% higher than the prior year, which is down and some improvement from the peak levels that we saw at 9%. Wages, however, fell nearly 1% in the most recent reading. The Fed has a goal to keep the inflation rate around 2%. We are still far from that level. So what they've had to do is increase the Fed fund rate, which increases interest rates altogether, with the hopes of slowing consumer activity. This makes it a lot more difficult for growth stocks and companies that need to take on more debt to be able to expand. And in today's video, we are going to look at 3 dividend paying stocks that can help you combat a period of stagflation. But before we begin, do me a huge favor and click that like button down below, and let's get started. Hey everyone, Mark Rusin here. As always, I'm a CPA and not a financial advisor, so please do not take this as financial advice and perform your own due diligence. Are you a new investor or looking for a new brokerage? Have you considered MooMoo? MooMoo is a great platform that has a ton of great resources for investors of all levels. They also have a great earnings calendar, which is very helpful, especially in this time of earnings season, which we're going through right now. You can find this by going to the Markets tab down on the bottom of the screen, and then you go to Explore, and then you will see the earnings section, which will show the company earnings by day. And right now, new users that open an account with MooMoo using my link down below can receive up to 20 free stocks. You'll receive 1 stock just for signing up for an account, another 9 stocks for depositing just $100, and you could receive the remaining 10 stocks for depositing $1,000. See the link down in the description below for this limited time offer. Now for our 3 dividend stocks to beat stagflation. Dividend stock number 1 is PepsiCo, stock ticker PEP. PepsiCo is one of the 2 largest beverage companies in the world, trailing only Coca-Cola. Pepsi offers many of the same great products as Coke from a beverage standpoint, but in addition to having a ton of beverage options like Pepsi, Diet Pepsi Aquafina, Mountain Dew, Propel, Gatorade, and Pure Leaf, just to name a few, PepsiCo also has an entire snack food segment that Coca-Cola does not have. Some of those popular snack labels or food labels include Doritos, Lay's, Tostitos, Quaker Oats, and Cheetos, just to name a few. PepsiCo has a market cap of $264 billion, and over the past 12 months, shares of PepsiCo are up nearly 15%. Looking at this chart here, you can see just how steadily revenues have increased over the years. In periods of stagflation, the companies with pricing power and staying power will perform the best, and PepsiCo has both of those. Looking here, you can see that they have gross profit margins north of 50%. They have EBIT margin of nearly 14% with a return of equity of roughly 37%. They also have a return on assets of 8%. The company has nearly $42 billion in debt with roughly $5.2 billion of cash on hand. That is no small amount of debt. As such, there are a few metrics I want to look at, 2 of which are the company's EBITDA, so I can see what debt to EBITDA ratio is. The second being free cash flow, which I have said before. Free cash flow is used to pay down debt as well as pay dividends. PepsiCo has EBITDA north of $14 billion, meaning their debt to EBITDA is roughly 2.7 times, which is good. I look for something that is below 3 times. Free cash flow, on the other hand, has been generally rising over the years and now stands at $5.3 billion. Pepsi pays an annual dividend of $4.60 per share, which equates to a dividend yield of 2.4%. They have moderately high payout ratio of 65%, so something to keep an eye on there, and they have a 5-year dividend growth rate over 7%. Just this week, PepsiCo announced a 10% dividend hike for its shareholders. PepsiCo is one of the newest dividend stocks to reach the status of Dividend King, as they have increased their dividend for 50 consecutive years and counting. Dividend stock number 2 is Merck & Company, stock ticker MRK. Merck & Company is a pharmaceutical giant with products in oncology, hospital acute care, immunology, neuroscience, virology, cardiovascular, and diabetes. They also have an animal health segment of the business. These big pharma companies that already have notable products, like Merck does with Keytruda, can perform quite well during periods of stagflation. Regardless of the economic backdrop, healthcare continues to be a defensive sector. You need your pills, you need your medicine, regardless if the economy is up or the economy is down. Merck currently has a market cap of $295 billion, and over the past 12 months, shares have been on a tear, rising roughly 34%. The company recently reported their Q1 earnings, which investors cheered. Revenues came in at $14.5 billion, beating analysts' expectations by $660 million, and adjusted EPS came in at $1.40, beating analysts' expectations by 3 cents per share. Sales did decrease 9% from 2022, but that was largely due to the pandemic sales that decreased. Strip out those COVID-related products and sales actually grew by 11%. Merck's primary drug is Keytruda, which saw sales grow 20% in the quarter to $5.8 billion. Exclude foreign currency, and sales for Keytruda grew 24%. In addition to solid earnings, management also increased their 2023 guidance. Global sales are expected to come in between $57.7 billion and $58.9 billion. Analysts were looking for $58.2 billion. They also raised their adjusted EPS guidance to a range of $6.88 to $7, with consensus at $7.01. If you have watched my videos before, then you know that I have love for another big pharma company, which is AbbVie. And AbbVie has owned the #1 selling drug in the world for a number of years, which is Humira. But at the start of 2023, Humira saw its patent expire, which now has moved Keytruda to the top selling US drug. Pharma companies that have actual products that are selling tend to have high margins, and Merck is no different, as they have gross margins of 72.75% and EBIT margins north of 30%. The company has total debt of $32 billion with over $13 billion of cash on hand and are rather efficient on how they run the business. They have strong EBITDA and free cash flow, which shows the company operates with a debt to EBITDA of just 1.5 times, which is great, and they have rising free cash flow peaking near $15 billion. In terms of the dividend, Merck pays a dividend of $2.92 per share, which equates to a dividend yield of 2.5%. They have a low payout ratio of just 41.5% and a 5-year dividend growth rate of 9.4%. They have been increasing their dividend for 12 consecutive years and counting. The third dividend stock on our list is NextEra Energy, stock ticker NEE. NextEra Energy is a North American utility company, actually the largest in terms of market value here in North America. Regardless of the economic backdrop, similar to what we saw with healthcare, consumers need energy. They need to keep their lights on. And that's why it's a great play with NextEra Energy and these utility companies during periods of stagflation. NextEra currently has a market cap of $155 billion, being the smallest on our list of 3 stocks we're looking at today. Their shares have increased 8% over the past 12 months. The company includes 2 main units: Florida Power and Light, we'll call it FPL, a regulated utility company in Florida, and then NextEra Energy Resources, or NEER, which operates a clean power fleet. The company as a whole operates a total of 60 gigawatts of generating capacity, of which 54% is managed by Florida Power and Light, and 46% by the NextEra Energy Resources. NextEra recently reported their Q1 earnings that soundly beat analysts' expectations. Adjusted EPS came in at 84 cents per share, and they were expecting only 73 cents per share. Revenues came in at 6.72 billion. Analysts were expecting 5.2, so a big beat there on the top line. The company also reaffirmed their 2023 guidance, which calls for adjusted EPS between a range of $2.98 to $3.13 per share. The company is located primarily in Florida, which continues to be a booming area with huge inflows in terms of population. The state recorded its largest influx of people in 2022, gaining over 417,000. These are the types of trends that are obviously a plus for utility companies. NEE is also well positioned as a renewable energy player and is expected to benefit greatly from the Inflation Reduction Act, which calls for a $30 billion investment in clean energy. The company's revenues continue to climb higher and they expect to surpass $25 billion next year. NEE also has strong gross margins of 55% and EBIT margins nearing 30%. In terms of debt, NEE has total debt of $70.6 billion with $2.3 billion of cash on hand and trailing 12 months EBITDA of $12.2 billion. Utility companies tend to be consistent dividend growers, and NextEra is no different. The company currently yields a dividend of 2.4% with a payout ratio below 60%. Over the past 5 years, the company has averaged annual dividend growth of 11.4%, and they are considered a dividend aristocrat for having increased their dividend for more than 25 consecutive years. So we may or may not hit a period of stagflation, but you want to be ready and prepared. All three of these companies are great companies. All three of these companies, though, are not trading at cheap valuations by any means. If anything, they're trading right at fair value. I wouldn't call them expensive, but I also would not call them cheap. So these are stocks to keep high on your watch list in case that we get any sell-off in any of the three. Down in the comments section below, I want to hear, do you believe that we will enter a period of stagflation? And do you believe that these next 10 years will be another lost decade like we saw in the 1970s? I'm not sure it'll get that bad, but we could see some period of stagflation. I hope you enjoyed the video, and if you haven't done so yet, hit that like button down below, and we'll see you in the next video. Take care.